Be'ezat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. I want to welcome you to the class that we do here. Baruch Hashem, this is the third time that I'm here at the shul. It's a chazakah. I want to first of all maybe take a moment to give an honorable mention to my good friend Rabbi Yair Masri, that we were just talking about Talmid Mufchar. What can I tell you? This is, you guys got lucky. Sometimes they say just like a Sefer Torah needs luck to come out of the Hechal, even communities need luck for the rabbis that land on its doorstep. Baruch Hashem, Hashem vayach otchem, sameach otchem. I see that this is a very active community. It's a healthy community. It's a young community. It's good to see all this achdut and all this pe'ulot that you're doing over here. Hashem vayach otchem, sameach otchem. You should be matzlichim in all that you do. We've decided to start a class here every Wednesday called Spiritual Preparation for ... Meaning what? There's so many things that we could talk about, especially now, that a Jew needs to prepare himself for. Spiritual preparation means you always have to get ready for Shabbat, for Rosh Chodesh, for Rosh Hashanah, for Kippur. You have to get ready. It's not so simple to just walk into those days. We started a couple of days ago, Mamash Mishamayim, that we're getting into the big season that you need spiritual preparation. Adar, Nisan, Sivan, whether it's Purim, whether it's Pesach, whether it's the Omer, whether it's Shavuot, and after that we're already going to be in the Teshuvah season for Elul and Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. These are times that you can't be just another Tuesday, another Wednesday, another Thursday, another Shabbat. These are days that if you prepare yourself for them, you can get a lot of spiritual abundance. So we decided to start this class. The first one was about Rosh Chodesh Adar. Baruch Hashem, that was a very beautiful class. Got very good feedback on that one as well. Last week we did about Tanita Esther. Also a very good class that detailed the history, what needs to do, what are the segulot. Tonight is a different type of class, but before we start discussing tonight's class, I'll give you guys a catch-up. I see there's a lot of new faces over here. I'll give you a quick catch-up on what we did in the past 2 weeks. So, obviously we're in the month of Adar. For those of you that don't know, we're in a very, very good time of the year for the Jews. We're right now in a pocket of time, an envelope of time, where this is the time where the Jews have the luck on their side. Mazal Bari. We also, from the time of Tu Bishvat up until Matan Torah, these are 3-4 months. It's a good pocket of time where everything is in our favor. And these are months of chesed. So anytime a person wants to grow in their spirituality, anytime a person wants to start something new, anything that wants to take themselves to the next level, this is the good time to do it. For example, we said that Chodesh Adar is, as Chazal tell us, is Mazal Bari. It has a healthy month. Just like they tell us in the month of Av, don't go to court, stay low profile. The month of Av is Dinim. In the month of Adar, they tell us, go to court with the Goy. Start a new business. This is the time where you start new endeavors. Why? Mazal Bari la'am Yisrael. We have it's a lucky month for us. Furthermore, we know that this Mazal in the zodiac is Mazal Dagim. Dagim, as we know, they correspond to the tzaddikim. They correspond to that Ayin Hara lo sholetet b'hem. Similarly, in this month, imagine it's a month that the Ayin Hara is very weak on Am Yisrael. Not as the way that might have powers in other times. Also, the month is very, very famous for Mishanichnas Adar Marbim b'simcha. We spoke about it in depth also. What is the simcha? How do you get simcha? The short of the long, give you a half hour condensed into 30 seconds. En simcha en la Torah. En la simcha en la Torah. When you add Torah to your life, automatically you get happier. Automatically your neshama goes to a higher level. And how do you know that? Plant the seed in Adar. Plant the seed in Adar. And when the Melech hu Basadeh, in the time of Elul, you're going to see the fruits of your labor from during these months. Furthermore, when we said that this is the time of Simcha, the month of Adar is also a month of increased Achdut in Am Yisrael. What's on the menu for tomorrow? What's on the menu in the next few days? Mishloach manot, matanot le'evyonim. What's mishloach manot? It's not 50 bags to all your friends. You got to go to the two friends that you have the worst relationship with, the ones that you're not talking to, whether it's an aunt, uncle, mother, father, sister, brother, anyone that you have the worst relationship with. You got to take that mishloach manot and go to them, because the whole purpose of mishloach manot is to bring the Jewish people closer. Even though that it's nice to give a nice mishloach manot to friends, of course, do it. But the real point of it is to go to the person that you have a bad relationship with. Something is shaky and make it better. Lankry et halevavot. Also matanot le'evyonim. It's the Jew that has given to the Jew that doesn't have. That also mekarev et halevavot. That also creates achdut. So we see that we have over here layers and layers and layers of things that are available to us, not only in this month, but in this season. Furthermore, we discussed last week on Tanita Esther that we said that this is Yom. היום תענית אסתר מסוגל מאוד שיקבלו תפילתנו בזכות מרדכי ואסתר. Imagine if I tell you there's a day that you have a much higher chance of winning the lotto. Would you go play the Powerball? Would you go play the lotto? Yeah, why? You have a better chance. The odds are better. Tomorrow, Tanita Esther, your odds are very, very, very high to be heard when you pray. And the rabbis even tell us what's the proper formula for your tefillah to be heard. The rabbis tell us that anybody that needs rachamim, anybody that needs anything in their life, he should take in Tanit Esther, let me give you the pro level, medium level, intermediate, and then beginner level. Beginner level, and you chime in to, you check the box that fits best for you. The best level is to wake up tomorrow, to wake up tonight, right? You go to sleep after this, after the arak, after the whiskey, you go to sleep, you wake up at 2, 3 in the morning. That is the prime time of talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You wake up, you start getting ready, Birkot HaShachar, and you take a book of Tehillim, and you do the whole book of Tehillim, bumper to bumper, front to back, no speaking, no eating, and after that, you light 2 candles, one for Esther, one for Mordechai. Read the 22nd chapter of Tehillim, Alet HaShachar, and over there, let it go. Start to pray. Let your heart, as they say, let your heart go. You can speak to Hashem directly in front of those 2 candles. If you can't do Tehillim all night, at least wake up before the break of dawn. Why? Because we know that Esther is also called Ayelet HaShachar. We did many classes why she's named exactly that. But because she's called Ayelet HaShachar, the rabbis tell us, wake up before the Shachar, wake up before dawn. Light those 2 candles for, they say, do netilat yadayim, Birkot HaShachar, go light those 2 candles, and pray in front of those candles to be heard. Why? Because when Mordechai told Esther to go in front of Achashverosh, it was a very dangerous time. It's either you live or you die. If he doesn't call you, if he doesn't summon you to come to him, there's danger over here that a person can be killed if he approaches Achashverosh when they're not summoned. Esther took it upon herself in order to defend the Jewish people. And before she went, you have to imagine, before she went to Achashverosh, she was in the hallway, praying to Hashem, Hashem, please save me. She went and said, and she was successful. What do? The same thing. We do the same thing. We read that chapter of Tehillim, and there's some people that say it 1 time, some people say it 3 times, some people say it 7 times, whatever your... Ayelet HaShachar, 22nd chapter of Tehillim. And you pray. So right away, you see that tomorrow, light 2 candles and pray, much higher chance of your tefillot getting answered than any other time before. Not only that, when you ask, anyone who has children over here knows, it's all about how you ask for something. If a child tells you, Abba, give me candy, Abba, give me a toy, right away, resistance. What do you mean give you candy, give me a toy? Wait. But if they come and say, Abba, please, can you please give me a candy? Can you please give me a toy? Remember how I did this good thing when I was last week and I cleaned my room and I got 100 on my test? He knows how to ask, right? Same thing. If you come tomorrow in front of the candle and say, B'schut Esther, that she stood in front of Achashverosh to pray for the Jewish people, in the schut of Mordechai, that led the Jewish people and unified as Hashem, please hear my prayer. You already have a much higher chance because you know how to send up on which channel, how to butter up HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's tomorrow. That's last week. We spoke about it in detail, the history, so on and so forth. By the way, all the classes are available on Facebook, on YouTube, on SoundCloud. If you ever want to catch up, these are good classes. If you can't make it over here, family, business, work, tired, whatever it is, it's cataloged. You can always catch up on it. You know, nowadays, you get a much higher sachar when you walk and you park the car and you come into the place and you're listening to the rabbi live. But Baruch Hashem, we have YouTube and we have all different medias that we can do it. Don't pass up. There's so much Torah here, around nowadays. It's a mamash, it's a zchut, and you can have an excuse not to learn Torah. And there's Torah on a very high level that's out there. So just putting it out there. In addition, we also spoke about Seudat Purim. Seudat Purim, you know, you have to understand that one of the reasons why we got in trouble in Paras, one of the reasons why the biggest anti-Semite in the world, Haman, said that, you know what, I'm going to make a decree that all the Jewish people will get annihilated in one day. Imagine such a harsh decree, and it was decreed. It's something that actually came to, it was a reality in this world. There was such a decree in this world. Why? The rabbi tells two reasons. One is because the Jewish people actually sat down in the Seudah of Achashverosh. Because they ate in that Seudah of that evil king, then they got punished. They also say because they bowed down to the idol of Nebuchadnezzar. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says that in the Zohar, but overall because of those two reasons. But when it comes to the Seudah of Purim, on Friday when you sit down and eat, you have another spiritual prime time, another special time that you can fix. What can you fix in the time of Seudah? Well, number one, you can fix the sin that the Jewish people did over there. Because they sinned on the Seudah, you're showing Hashem, look, Abba, your children are now having Seudah in Purim the right way. Kosher food, kosher wine, brachot, simcha. You're making a tikkun. Not only that, you know, there's an opportunity over here also to do a tikkun on yourself. If you ever had any transgressions that you've done throughout the year through food, maybe you were overeating, maybe you ate something where the hechsher is suspect, or maybe you didn't wait the proper amount of time between meat and cheese or whatnot. During the Seudah, it has the power to repair. Say Hashem, the same way that we're doing the tikkun of Seudat of the Mishteh of Achashverosh, please, if I made any sins, knowingly or unknowingly, on the way that I eat or the food that I'm eating, please forgive me. So you have a tikkun over there as well. That's also, imagine when you have days in the year where you can actually start erasing your debt. Imagine you have a bill in the Shamayim for $10 billion. And every time you do something, you knock down 500 million, 400 million, 800 million. You know, the big bill. At the end, you have like a magic eraser. Erase. You go to the Shamayim. All of a sudden, imagine you don't have a bill. Or maybe the bill is something small. Or maybe even you have a surplus. When you plug into these days, when you do these things, it's a big toilet for you and for your neshama. Also, you'll notice that you feel a lot lighter when you go through life, when you're spending time on doing reparations or rectifying things that you've done spiritually. Sometimes you don't even know, but just the act of doing it helps it a lot. Furthermore, that was just a catch up on the past two lessons, but for tonight I wanted to discuss something else. Even though that we spoke about Purim, the Ta'anit, the Seudah, I wanted to focus on another great custom that we do during this time, during Purim, which is to get dressed up, to wear a costume, להתחפש. Why do we do it? Is it just for kids? Is it just for fun? Or is there something spiritual that can be activated there also? Because sometimes we look at this thing, מתחפשים. Is it so pashut that we just get dressed up? It could be anything random. You know, no kavanot, it's just for children. The adults are doing it, the young children are doing it. What's behind it? I'm right now, let's say we're all adults over here. Baruch Hashem, married, not married, children, not children. Is there something beneath the surface to getting dressed in a costume in Purim? So first, let's get some facts. If you want the basic answer, you know, the pshat answer that everybody can give you of why do we get dressed on Purim, it's because it says, v'na'afochu. That's what they tell you. Because even the Rama brings it. It says over there that Mishum shekatuv v'na'afochu, that pasuk that we have in the Megillah, v'na'afochu, as dovshim hakol hafuch. We have even the Rama chimed in on it, saying that's the reason why we get dressed in costumes. Because the pasuk reads, it says, "Uv'shneim-asar chodesh, hu chodesh Adar b'shloshah-asar yom, bo asher yagia dvar hamelech v'dato le'asot, bayom asher sibru oivei Yehudim lishlot bahem, v'na'afoch hu, asher yishletu haYehudim, hema besonehem." Imagine, we went to a day where the whole world became anti-Semites. They want to destroy every single Jew. What happens? The whole thing turned upside down. The Jews were in control, and we were the ones who were controlling of our haters. Wow, what a reality. What a reality. Imagine if nowadays this could be our reality. And we'll touch on that to see if it's possible to have such a reality nowadays. So this whole concept of Na'afochu is actually a running theme in the month of Adar, as well as in the holiday of Purim. As we see in the Megillah that says, "Kayamim asher nachu bahem hayudim oevehem," in the days that the Jewish people rested from their enemies, "V'chodesh asher ne'efach lahem miyagon lesimcha." This month of Adar, it turned miyagon lesimcha. It's the month that it took. The month went from a month of anguish to a month of joy. Ume'evel leyom tov, from a day of mourning to a holiday, Yom Tov. La'asot otam yomei mishteh v'simcha, days where we eat meat and we celebrate and we drink. And furthermore, mishloach manot ish lereo, we spoke about mishloach manot umatanot le'evyonim. Look what it is. Look at how the energy changed from a country. Guys, if you don't mind, it helps me concentrate better when it's quiet, if you don't mind. So imagine that we're in a situation that we went from annihilation to happiness and joy. And what happened then can happen now, because that's the energy of this month. Things flipped in our favor. Danger was looming, was hiding underneath. Everything was behester. Everything was under the surface. Just like the Yeshua was under the surface. Just like we had the danger looming, that they're all going to annihilate us, the Yeshua was also under the surface, always hiding. Because this is the whole idea of Vayafochu and Hester. We see that Megillat Esther, everything is in Hester. This whole month, everything is hidden. So everything that has to do with this month, everything that has to do with this holiday is hidden. And not only that, opposites. Things can flip. Keep that in mind. Why? It says in Sefer Devarim on the 31st chapter, Va'anochi haster astir panai bayom hahu. There's going to be a time in history where God is going to hide His face from us. We're going to feel like God is not here. We're going to feel that God is no longer living with us. We don't feel Him like the time of Bet HaMikdash, like the time of the Mishkan, like the time of the Nevi'im, like the time of the, obviously we're in 5,781. God today is not what God was hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. He's Hester betoch Hester, Hester betoch Hester. You really have to work hard in order to reveal Kadosh Baruch Hu, especially in your life. So it says, because it says, Vanochi Aster Panai, Bayom Hahu. What's Bayom Hahu? That's the day is going to be the month of Purim. And because of that, we know that this is the Astarat Panim Bayom Esther. That's when we get it in the Megillat Esther. So we see this, that Haster Ve'yafochu are two running themes. Now, I'll give you some examples of this. That everything is in Hester. Everything is, you can see even in the story, hidden characters, hidden messages. Esther, that's not her real name, Esther. Her real name was Hadassah. What happened? Why do we have to hide her name? Not only that, she didn't reveal her Jewish identity. The whole time, Achashverosh didn't know that she was Jewish. She hides her name, she hides her identity. Hester, everything is hidden. Mordechai, we see that in the beginning of the story, he's wearing sackcloth and he's in mourning. What happens in the end of the story? Vayafochu. All of a sudden it becomes Vayilbosh malchut chered v'chul v'tachir butz v'argaman. All of a sudden he's wearing the clothes of a king. Things are changing. They start one way and they finish another one. Also Haman, if you know the story, it's one of the best stories to tell your children. Haman was a bathhouse attendant. He used to be a hairdresser. He used to take care of people out of the hammam. All of a sudden, he became one of the most second in command to Achashverosh. He was one of the richest men in the world at that time. How can you go from a bathhouse attendant to second in command? Everything vayafochu. That's the whole story you see is something complete opposites. Even Eliyahu Navi, he's in this Megillah. He's v'gam charbona, right? Shaya misarisei hamelech. He was Eliyahu Navi. Why don't you just say Eliyahu Navi? Why? Everything is in Esther. Everything is in Esther. Everything is hidden. So if something is hidden, you have to look for it. Or you have to have it revealed. So we see that one of the things that we see, since the whole thing is in Esther, so what do? We get dressed up and we hide ourselves. We start put costumes on. So even though that there's a lot of different characters in the story of Purim, there's actually more of a history to getting dressed up, to costumes. As a matter of fact, the first time that we see somebody getting dressed up in Jewish history is who? The first person to put on a costume is who? Chazak, Yaakov and Esav. Right? Yaakov, what did he do? He put on the clothes of Esav. He put on a costume to show his father that he's somebody else. Why would he do that? This is such an incredible chidush. It says that Yaakov Avinu hu harishon shitchapes kedei lekabel et habrachot me'esav. He was the first one to put on a costume so you can get the blessings of Esav. Shezo haderech hayechida להתגבר על הסטרה האחת. That's the only way that you can fool or you can overpower the evil inclination. If לקבל את הברכות, if you want to get blessings, it's very hard to get straightforward blessings. Well, if you want to get blessings, you have to know that there's always somebody trying to make sure you don't get the blessings. Who is that? Yetzer hara. So what do you have to do? You have to fool him. Just like Yaakov fooled Esav, just like Yaakov had to dress up in a tachposet to get the blessing, similarly, we do it as well. If Purim is on such a high level, the rabbis tell us Purim is on a higher level than Kippur. The Zohar says, Yom Purim, yoter ne'elam Yom Kippur. When you ask any Jew, what's the best time of the year, the highest level of the year, they're going to tell you, Yom Kippur, Ne'ilah. Rabbi Sad Abergel this Sunday said that the Yom of Purim put 20 Ne'ilot together, it doesn't even match up to the day of Purim. Could you imagine? Could you imagine what's in this day? So when we are not worthy of a blessing, when we're asking for a blessing, what do? We put on costumes to fool the Yetzer hara, and we ask Hashem for a bracha. Why? Because it's one of the best days for a bracha, more than Yom Kippurim. By the way, we see something similar to that in the Seir LaAzazel. Right? What happens in Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur, you want to be forgiven for everything. What does Hashem do? Hashem gives the Yetzer hara the Seir LaAzazel. He puts all the sins on it. He goes, messes around with it. And after he goes, messes around with it, all the Jewish people go, Bedil v'yavor, go. Same thing over here. We put the tachposa, we ask for blessings. The Yetzer hara is like, who's asking for the blessings? I don't know. I see a cop, I see a fireman, I see a clown. You have to put on a tachposa in order to get it. Furthermore, there's another concept in Purim that says, Kol haposhet yad notnim lo. Imagine, any person comes to you in Purim, when he goes like this, give me tzedakah, you have to give it to him. If somebody reaches out for charity, you don't ask questions, you don't ask for certificates, you don't ask what you. The guy asks you for money, you give him. That's Purim. Not only that, be ready for that. Take $100, turn it into 100 singles, and know that if anybody asks you, you're going to give it. You don't have $100, take $20, turn it into 2 rolls of quarters, give change. You don't have that, turn it into dimes. Just make sure you have enough to give to everybody else. Because Kol haposhet yad notnim lo. That's what we do in Purim. So just like in Kippur, what happens in Kippur? Remember that Purim and Kippur have a connection. What's the connection? What do we do in the tefillah of Ne'ilah? It says over there, Ve'yeminecha peshuta lekabel shavim. Right? God's hand is out to receive who? The sinners, the poshim. So Hashem has an outreached hand for teshuvah. So in return, what do we do when people give us their hand for tzedakah? We give them. Just like Hashem gives us His hand for tzedakah, for teshuvah, when we give to tzedakah, what do? The same thing we say to Hashem. כל הפושט יד נותנים לו. Abba, I need a zivug. Abba, I need parnasa. Abba, I need bריאות. I need health. I need finances. I need zara dekaima. I need all these different things. On Purim, כל הפושט יד נותנים לו. This is a day very, very, very strong for tefillah. So anytime that you can activate it. So you can't have the guy standing in the front of the shul asking you for tzedakah. I don't have, I didn't bring, there's no cash on me, right? And then you go inside and you're shuckling like this. Give me everything that I need. Activate it. Why? When you're doing something in an action, you can go to Hashem and say, I'm like you, Abba. Just like you are giving tzedakah to me, I'm giving tzedakah to your people. Activating things. Another reason that we dress up is back in the days when the Jewish people used to read the Megillah, who used to come? All the poor people. Why? Because it says in the Megillah, Matanot la'evyonim. So they would all line up. It was the day for all the poor people to come to shul. Now because they would come during the time of the Megillah, what happened? They'd be embarrassed, right? Some people don't want people to know that they have that they're poor or that they need help. So what did they do? In order to not be embarrassed for the tzedakah that they're asking, what did they put? Costume. The Baal Shem Tov says that the highest level of giving tzedakah is when it's anonymous. There's a higher level, but one of the highest levels, I think the Rambam enumerates 8 ways of the tzedakot. The second to best is when it's anonymous. Why? He says, the Baal Shem Tov says, u'mitzvat tzedakah behidura hi matan baseter. Is somebody that gives and he doesn't know. Meaning when a person has a costume, he doesn't know who's giving him. And the guy that's receiving, he doesn't know who's giving him in return. So everybody is behester. Highest level of tzedakah. Most of the time when people come, you see his face, you see his reaction, you start to judge each other, you give a lot, give a little. In Purim, when everybody's in a costume, your level of tzedakah is on the highest level. Why? Matan baseter. And by that, there's no embarrassment. The guy is giving besimcha, the guy is receiving besimcha. Another reason why we get dressed up in the costume. Furthermore, it says, in Purim, mitzvah lishtaker, right? It says, Ad lo yada ben Arur Haman leBaruch Mordechai. So, Masechet Megillah says, Mechayev inish leibisume bepuria, that the person has to get drunk lishtaker bepurim. Ad lo yada ben Arur Haman leBaruch Mordechai. We have to get to that point that we don't know who's cursed and who's blessed, if it's Haman or Mordechai. So what happens when people get drunk? It's embarrassing, right? I don't know about you guys, sometimes people get sloppy drunk. I'll give you a personal story. 4 years ago, I got sloppy drunk. And it felt weird. I think it was on Thursday. And the next day was Shabbat. It was already Friday. And I don't know what happened. That day I came to shul, everybody gave me weird looks. It's like, and I guess blacked out or blanked out. I don't remember what it was. But my wife told me, you drank too much. You drank too much, and I felt it in my soul and even my around. So what happened? When you have the costume, if you get drunk, nobody sees who you are. You don't embarrass yourself. You're also covered completely. Another reason why we do it, even though we have the mitzvah to lebasume, right? In order to get drunk, you don't embarrass yourself by putting on a costume. Furthermore, that we see that you can actually see from a person their hidden, they reveal themselves through their costumes. Everyone sometimes is something different. We see that people dress up as a cop, as a doctor, as a soldier. And what is it? It's showing us that everyone is acting out a character. Everyone is playing out a role, right? Well, this guy all of a sudden looks like a doctor. This guy looks like a cop. This guy looks like like a soldier. Over here, there's a musar eskel, something that we could learn. That similarly in life, Hashem sends us people that are playing a role, just like we play a role. I'm a cop tomorrow. You're a doctor tomorrow. Hashem sends people also to play a role in our lives. Hashem is the one that's sending these characters. Meaning they're wearing the role of the doctor, they're wearing the role of the police officer. But who's inside? It's God's hands sending you people, maneuvering all the people that need to come into your life. Underneath the costume is God's handiwork. Everything that Hashem puts in your way, everybody, they're just messengers. That's why don't get so upset sometimes at people. You know, they say a dog gets angry at the stick, right? Why does he get angry at the stick? Because he thinks that the stick hurt him. But it's not the stick that hurt him. Who hurt him? It's Hashem is the messenger. Similarly is with us. Hashem puts a lot of people in costumes and roles in our lives. Just understand that beneath it all, it's God's hand. Furthermore, we typically dress up as goyish characters, right? If you see, Baruch Hashem, one guy will get dressed up as Aaron Kohen, another one will get dressed up as a Chassid, another one will be as a Rav Ovadia Yosef, right? But everybody else, goyish costumes. What's something else that we could extract from that as well? We show Hashem like this: Abba, on the outside, I look like a goy. On the outside, I act like a goy, but you know, deep down inside, I'm that godly soul, I'm that neshama elokit. I'm just playing a role. Furthermore, they say that people's alter ego comes out in Purim, and it's expressed through their costume. I actually saw it brought somewhere that Purim has a segula that a person should dress up of what they really want to be on Purim. In other words, when a person dresses up a certain way on Purim, it has a power to manifest itself into their life. So in other words, if somebody wants to get married, get dressed up in a tuxedo like a groom. Let the girl get dressed up as a bride. You want to be, get better in your Gemara class. You get better in your Torah. Dress up as a rabbi. You want to be somebody who's helping people. Get dressed up as a doctor. You know, put the garb on, and it activates. It's a segura to activate of what you can be for the rest of the year. It's they call this koach hamedameh. What's koach hamedameh? It's the power of imagination, of positive suggestion. You're putting it on. You're doing an action, and in return, you create reality. You create a reality, and we see through the costumes that people are revealing their true hidden identity. Sometimes you look at people, you're like, what is that? And you see that the guy wants to, he's a guy vidik. The guy's dressing up as Napoleon. And then you have this guy, he's dressing up like Trump. And you have this guy, I thought to myself, if the action creates reality, we should all dress up. Like we put either Biden or Trump, whoever you go for, we put him in court. We do a whole setup. If you want to impeach, you do the whole thing to impeachment. If you want to keep, who knows what actions we can do as Jewish people. I'll tell you that this is something, when I heard this a few years ago, I said to myself, okay, so if I get dressed, I have the power to activate it into my life. So it was very interesting, because now when I look back on it, I can see what spiritual level I was on. I think about 4 years ago, I got dressed up as Biggie Shloms. Who's Biggie Shloms? It was half Biggie Smalls. I don't know if you guys know rap music. It's a big, notorious B.I.G. And Shlomo HaMelech. I combined my avar, my past, the pre-teshuvah, and Shlomo HaMelech. I still have this split personality inside of me. And it was funny. Crown with gold chain, glasses, teeth, and Shlomo HaMelech. Okay. The following year, last year, I realized I did another thing. I got dressed up as a king, and I put on myself it was just when the pandemic started, I put a mask. And what was my costume? Achashvirus. I said to myself, chazak, king, but connected to the time, I'm here. Now I realize here, this year, what am I going to get dressed at? Shlomo HaMelech, finally! Shlomo HaMelech. Finally we got to it. Why? The smartest man to ever live. Don't you want to draw from that? I need the chokhmah, I need the binah, I need the da'at of Shlomo HaMelech. So you see that even if you look back at yourself on the years that you got dressed, it's very telling of where you are spiritually. Also, you have to be very careful if to dress like a boy, for a girl, and for a man to dress like a woman. It's not so simple. The rabbis dealt with it. The short of the law, don't do it. Furthermore, we wear costumes to reveal ourselves. We wear costumes to activate our hidden powers behind the costumes and our actions. In conclusion, I just want to say, the pasuk reads, "Vayamim ha'ele," these days that we're in right now, today, tomorrow, Friday, hayamim ha'ele nizkarim v'na'asim bechol dor v'dor. The rabbis teach us that whatever happened then is going to happen now. The same power that was in the time of the Jewish people in Persia, where they got saved from the evil Haman, where they went from being chased to being safe. Not only that, the Jews were the lowest form of people in that time period. In the end of the Megillah, we see that there were mityahadim. You know what's mityahadim? That means that the goyim in the street are starting to walk like us. They like our hairstyle. They shave all around, leave peot. You see them all walking around with tzitziot, mityahadim. Could you imagine? Vayafochu. This energy of vayafochu is available now. If somebody needs his parnasah to go from minus to plus, this is the time to pray for it. A person needs a zivug, this is the time to pray for it. A person needs zehara dekaima, some sort of a success, you have some sort of a blockage, this is the time where you plug yourself into a tefillah, in Tanita Esther, in the time of Purim. This is the energy of this time. Why? Because that this time, whatever happened in the story of Purim can happen to you in your personal life. Furthermore, Be'ezrat Hashem, that we merit to this v'nahafochu. Because what happened over there, v'nahafochu? Asher yishletu haYehudim hema b'sonehem. As Jews right now, we're experiencing a lot of anti-Semitism. Sometimes they turn it up, sometimes they turn it down, but it's always beneath the surface. Like we said, the annihilation of the Jews was beneath the surface, but so was the Yeshua. Just like there's all these sonei Israel all over the world underneath the surface. Just give them a chance to come out. Look what happened in the streets. They gave them a couple of days, they went crazy. Give some of the anti-Semites a chance, they'll do that as well. But just like they're beneath the surface, so is our Yeshua beneath the surface. The Vayafochu is there just the same way. Furthermore, it says that our reality will be Kayamim, like the days Asher nachu b'hem hayudim oivehem, that the Jewish people rested from their enemies. Imagine this little speck on the planet, this small little area, the belly button of the world, how much they talk about it, how much they don't stop bothering us, right? Asher nachu b'hem hayudim oivehem. Finally, we don't have to deal with umot ha'olam. V'achodesh asher nefach lehem miyagon lesimcha. This month, miyagon lesimcha, from anguish to happiness. Ume'ever leYom Tov. Look at us. We can feel the Yom Tov on the table. We have sushi. We have the drinking. Everybody's already, half the people already dressed in suits. People are getting ready. Chag is coming.
We all have masks.
That's for sure. But Be'ezrat Hashem, that we activate the same things of Megillat Esther, the achdut that they have, which is here, Baruch Hashem. The vayafochu, that each one of us, that our collective situation and our personal situation turns for the best, vayafochu. Better parnasah, better health, better zivug, better shlom bayit, better child raising, and a spiritual upgrade. Imagine you have a time right now, you always say, I wish I could understand more Torah. I wish I could connect to Shabbat more. I wish I can understand the Daf Yomi more. Oh, I wish I could do that Tikkun Klali. Oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. You know what? Stop wishing. Man up. Put your time in the month of Adar. Step up your game. Add one more thing. Add one more thing during this month. Plant your seed in the time of Adar, and look what happens in the month of Elul. You're going to feel your spiritual upgrade. Be'ezrat Hashem, that may our costumes reveal our inner spirituality, and that we all dress up tomorrow as Chacham Ovadia Yosef. We all feel that we want to get spiritually elevated, and Be'ezrat Hashem, that all the blessings that are available to us will rain down upon us and our families. Hashem v'ech otchem, sameach otchem. Thank you for having me, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see you next Wednesday.